Okay, now some Tangerine, which is another metallic mica pigment. Yellow, of course. Trying to make sure my layers are even in all three directions. Oh, that's looking cool. Hey everybody, it's Anna. Welcome back to my Fluid Art channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Today I have a really fun idea, sort of a leprechaun, lucky Irish-inspired pour that I hope is going to turn out well. See, I've been thinking about bottle bottom pours. After doing my compilation of all the different techniques, I was like, I should do another bottle bottom pour. But I wanted to try to find a way to do it differently, because the standard kind of little soda bottle center, it makes a nice flower, but I thought, I feel like there's ways that I could do different things with either different sizes or different numbers of kind of feet on the bottom of the bottle. So my daughter was drinking out of a plastic water bottle, and I looked at it and I said, you know what? This has sort of 3 channels, 3 feet, 3 channels instead of the typical 5. And I thought instead of a 5-petaled flower, I'll do a 3-leafed clover. So that's what I'm going to have. So I've got some greens for my clover, and then to make it really sort of leprechaun-y, I want to put a little rainbow in there and a blue sky. So those are kind of my 3 different color groupings. Almost all of it's going to go out through the bottle bottom, not the background color so much, but the rest is. So for my rainbow, I'm not including green because I have so much green here. But I do have this one, which is Seashell. This is a mica pigment, which looks white, but it shines this lovely soft gold. So that's going to be like the gold at the end of the rainbow, except instead of at the end, it's going to be sort of along the edges of the rainbow. And then the sky should be this nice, I don't know that it's going to look like the sky, but I wanted some other color and not just white. So it's a couple different leftover blues that I had, and some white and some metallic sea mist. And then I have 5 different shades of green to hopefully make a nice, interesting shamrock there in the middle. So I'm hoping this is going to go well. I don't really know for sure because I've never tried it with this. So come along with me and let's make a painting. All of my colors today are mixed with Floetrol, about 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. Some of them, if they were a thicker paint, it might be 3 to 1. And then they're thinned with water to a medium thin consistency. And what that means is it flows well off the stick, makes a small soft mound, which disappears in a couple of seconds. If you want to know more about how I think about paint consistency, check the link that's down in the video description. I talk all about it. All right, so let's start with a bit of background color, because I do want a flow extender to make sure that all the colors can really spread. And I want it to be light, so I'm doing lots of white, and then some blue as well. And I'm just going to be kind of swiping to get these colors to blend together gently. I'm not going to make a big pattern in the background, because if I made a pattern, once the colors all sort of bumped into it, they would scrunch it up, and I don't want it to look scrunched. I just want it to be a little bit more interesting than a solid color. And then a little bit of this sea mist on top for interest. And then I'm just going to spread it a bit. I don't want the colors to completely blend into the same kind of thing. You know, I don't want it to all turn into the same shade, but at the same point, I do want a nice, soft, blended look. Okay. Is that the most perfect background you've ever seen? No, it's not, but it is interesting. It's a nice, soft, pale blue, and that's going to help our colors spread over the canvas. Before I finish with this, I do want to make sure that my edges are covered, so I'm just going to use this lighter blue to completely cover the edges. That way, in case the paint doesn't all flow across, we'll be fine. Okay, I have a background sort of flow extender. Now I'm going to put my bottle bottom right here in the middle. Make sure it's nice and centered this way and that way. Great, that looks good. And I'm lining up the channels so that I have one petal that goes here and then the other two kind of go this way. All right, I'm going to start by pouring a little bit of blue actually, and then some white. All right, there it goes. Because I want to see what kind of pattern and shape we get before I start adding all the other colors. I'm going to just kind of blend the puddles, join them up here, because I don't want there to be huge gaps. Okay, that already might be way too much white before my rainbow, but that'll be okay. So now I'm going to add some of this seashell to try to get a nice little layer of gold on the outside of the rainbow. Then I'm going to add some of my Quinacridone rose. And I want to make sure there's enough of each color in each layer that it's able to spread and kind of hold its own. So even though I think it's going to end up being a pretty small layer of each color, I want to make sure that I'm adding enough. Okay, now some Tangerine, which is another metallic mica pigment. That's pretty. Yellow, of course. Now because I'm moving in rainbow order, I'm not adding white in between each color because it's okay if the pink touches the orange, which touches the yellow, because they're supposed to touch like that. If I was going in a different order, where like the yellow had to touch the purple, I would definitely put a layer of white in the middle. All right, now I'm going to add the blue. It's okay if they mix and make a little bit of green since I don't have green. And if they don't mix, that's also okay. Trying to make sure my layers are even in all three directions. Purple now. Well, that's very cute. Nice little 3 pockets of color. I like that. Okay, so the rainbow is now going to finish up with some more of the seashell so that we have that gold layer on both sides of the colors. Now what? Now I'm going to add a little bit of white and then I'll do the green, just to really help get a little bit of separation between our colors. So for the greens, because I don't want big layers of color like this, and we're losing some of that pink. Hopefully it shows up under the seashell. Anyway, because I don't want huge layers of color, I'm going to use a split cup so that it'll be these tiny little rings flowing out, and I think it'll blend a little bit more. So I have 5 greens. I've got a dark, a light, 2 different, sort of an olive, more of a medium green, and then a metallic sort of Kelly green. I'm going to put the metallic here. And I don't know how much of this I need. And I'll put the lighter green over on this side. Maybe the dark green in the middle. I feel like as I'm pouring this out, I'm seeing lumps in the paint. Like not huge ones, but small ones. So hopefully those don't cause problems. That is one of the dangers when you're using leftover paint. Okay, that's finished. There's not a lot of that. All right, we'll put the sort of normal green over on this side. And the olive green over on this side. Okay, well my cup is not filled very evenly. I don't know if you can see that, the different levels of paint, but it should still give us a blend. So pretty much all the paint from the rainbow and the white has poured out. We've got this really cool effect down here at the bottom as the layers come out. So I'm not sure how this is going to look with the green as the shamrock. We may have something completely wacky come out of it. Who knows? But let's go ahead and pour this out. So I'm making little rings and I'm kind of switching direction every few circles so that it's an even blend of color. Uh-oh. I put on too much and it started going down over the sides. No, don't do that. Alright, this is really interesting. My cup is trying to float. So I'm curious to see how large this is going to be, so I'm actually going to leave the thing on there and spin it a little bit just to see how it stretches. And then based on how it stretches, I may add some more or I may call it quits. Woo! Alright. I have enough paint on there, clearly. And I'm starting to lose my rainbow. It's okay if some of the rainbow gets lost, I think. Alright, I believe what I'm going to do for the middle is I'm going to pick up the bottle bottom and then I'm going to use my split cup to pour some more green in the middle so that it's not like multicolored, to try to have a green center, and then I'll do some shaping. Alright, get ready. Okay. Cool. So we do have some blue there in the middle. Probably shouldn't have started with blue. Oh well. Alright, there's just a little bit of green. So this leaf did not come out as large as this one. So like this was my top one, and then this one came out larger, which I think will be okay. But, you know, it's not perfect. I'm just gonna do a little bit of finger dipping to join these together and remove some of that blue. Because just by touching your finger into the paint, you can sometimes remove a color that's there. Trying to remove some of the paint from this like transitional section in between the leaves. Okay, that's looking much more Clover-ish as I get these sort of boundaries looking better. What's still weird is that the middle is like bolder colors and the outsides are much more layered. So I'm just going to do a little bit of... Actually, when I picked up the palette knife, I thought I was going to be doing like rings, but I want it to feel like it's coming towards the center of the plant. So I'm just doing little lines. And then I'm blending those lines kind of back outwards into the leaves, so it's not a really obvious transition area. Okay, that's cool. I think the last thing to do is to take a chopstick. I'm going to pull this in a little bit. That didn't go exactly. It's a little better. This one down here at the bottom I'm not too concerned with because I think I will be brush painting a stem. Okay, I'm decently happy with that. I'd like to spin it a little bit more. I know that means we're going to lose some of that rainbow, but honestly, with the pink disappearing and the yellow disappearing, I hadn't noticed that, and the green, there's no green, so it doesn't look super rainbowy right now. I think I'll probably brush paint some colors on so that we'll get that rainbow at the end, but I want to stretch it and make that clover a little bit bigger. Okay, I think we were this way again. Wow, this leaf is so large. One other thing that I want to do with the chopstick is I want to drag some of the blue down into the white a bit more. And I'm not bringing it all the way down. I just want a little bit more than what we have. I'll do it here too, even though I will be adding the clover stem. Okay. Well, that's unlike anything I've ever done, but I kind of like it, and I don't think there's anything more that I want to add right now, so let me give you a close-up. Alright, here it is. So this looks a little strange right now because we can definitely see the clover, but the rainbow is missing a few of its colors. So let's just go in and look at Do you see those nice fine details that you get from the split cup, where all the colors are nice and crisp and they just layer on top of each other? So here you can see, the dark and the olive and the light. It'll be interesting to see the metallic when it's dry. Speaking of metallics, you see that layer between the purple and the green? That's going to have a shimmer to it. We can't see it now, but when it's dry, that's going to look kind of gold. And then with these rainbow layers, I am definitely going to come in with a brush, add some more of the pink and the yellow, maybe add some green too, who knows. But get that looking really clean. I do like my background. It's just kind of softly patterned and interesting. So there will be some brush touch-ups. Let me let this dry, and then I'll take you to the next step. All right, it's time to do some brush touch-ups. So I'm starting off by brush painting some blue. Now you might say, you've got plenty of blue. Yes, I do. But I also have a ton of purple. The purple band was like the widest of them all. And because I want to squeeze some yellow and also some green in kind of where the blue is, first I need to widen my blue stripe. So I'm making that purple line a little bit more proportional to what the other lines of color are going to be. By the way, that light purple color that you see between the dark purple and the Clover, that's actually the Seashell over top of the purple paint, and it looks much different when the light is hitting it properly. Once the blue layer is dry, I'm also brightening up the pink layer around the outside because it kind of slipped underneath that seashell. So it was there, but it wasn't bright. So I'm just brightening up that pink, and it isn't super easy to see from this angle, but you'll see it later. Now I'm going to add a layer of green because I do think it was a mistake to leave green out of the original rainbow. So the green I'm using is the metallic green that I used in the Clover. And I'm just painting a light layer of that over the blue. So then after that green layer dried, I went ahead and added a little strip of yellow between the green and the orange. I didn't end up filming that step, but you'll see it in the final close-up. Now it's time to finish up the Clover itself. The middle was a little bit messy, so I'm going to use a couple different shades of green to kind of neaten that up and make it look like everything is connecting properly. Then I'm painting just a very simple stem coming down from the middle of the Clover down to the bottom of the canvas. Once I had the basic shape of the stem painted, I let that dry, and then I came back with a lighter green and the olive green to round it out and make it look a little bit more shaded and realistic. All right, this is looking really cool. Let me show you the finished result. All right, here it is. That looks so cool with all the colors added. I love that. So let's take a look at these metallics. Look at the seashell shining so beautifully. So what's interesting is that up here on the outside edge, seashell on top of white shines just very gently gold, but on top of the purple it's a much warmer gold. So that's kind of cool that the same color on top of two different colors gives a different effect. But in both cases, it's kind of like a surprise color, instead of if I was using just a regular metallic gold. So let's look at these stripes of color here. You'll see that some of the colors are not perfectly solid lines, because I only had time to do one pass on each color. So if I add another layer of, for example, the yellow or the pink, or even the blue, it would make a much cleaner line, so I'll probably end up doing that. But even with just the one pass of color, it looks so cool. Looks much better with a full rainbow. So we've got that metallic tangerine, and then the green in the rainbow, which is fun. And then the metallic green, it's hard to see exactly where it is here in the Clover. I do think there's a fair amount of it in this leaf over here, and that'll be more visible once I varnish. But overall, I just think this is super cool, and I'm really happy with it. Thank you for joining me for this Clover and Rainbow St. Patrick's Day bottle bottom pour. I hope it's inspired you to try something new and demonstrated how just a little bit of basic brushwork can take a painting from mediocre to magical. I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Bye guys!